Good afternoon, I am Fabian Swill with News Hour on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. Coming up in the bulletin this afternoon, Inspector General of Police Dr. Richard Moigbe says it's an offense for police to act unprofessionally and discharge its function. Foreign diplomatic missions in the country call for peaceful elections. Secretary General of the All People's Congress, National Youth League, Ali Conte, calls on youth to be peaceful but very vigilant on polling day. And Ministry of Mines launches the Sierra Leone Mineral Sector Benchmarking Assessment Report. All these and more lined up in News Hour. News Hour on SLBC. As the country approaches the presidential runoff, the Secretary General of the All People's Congress Youth League, Ali Conte, who also doubles as the Presidential Youth Aide, has called on young people to refrain from all forms of violence but remain very vigilant on polling day. Mr. Conte called on Sierra Leoneans to vote for Dr. Samoa Kamara as he is the fittest man to lead this country after President Nkrumah. Mr. Conte, who was speaking to SLBC, said that the country needs free, fair and credible elections. We bring you an excerpt from the statement by the National Secretary General of the APC National Youth League, Ali Conte.
First and foremost, my message to the young people of this country is to appreciate them for participating in the just concluded general elections, wherein their conduct was very much appreciable to the general public. And towards the runoff elections, I'm also calling on the young people for them to go out there in their numbers so that they can have a say in the decision making of this country.
Now, what do you have to say generally to voters? Yes, I know your constituency is the young, but what do you have to say to voters generally as the country goes into presidential runoff?
Generally to the voters is that the race has now been limited to two personalities, Dr. Samoa Kamara and retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio. We are calling on the general public to see how best they can look at the character, the profile, and the experience of these individuals. But to be specific, I'm the Secretary General of the APC National Youth League. I'm calling on the young people of the APC party and the National Youth League to see how best we can go out there. Let us reach out to those of our membership for them to go out and cast their ballot for Dr. Samoa Kamara. And I also want to appeal to those people that took all the strength to register to participate in the elections in the provinces, for them to see what they can do so that they can get back to those places where they registered before the election so that they can go and cast their ballot for Dr. Samoa Kamara. My message to the young people of this country is for us to continue to maintain the peace, keep the peace, whatever dissatisfaction that we may have, let us go and demonstrate them in the ballot box. But furthermore, let me call on those that are charged with the responsibility to carry out the elections. Please, we are all Sierra Leoneans. It is enshrined in the Constitution that we should have the right to participate, to associate, and to belong. But if you are given the responsibility to oversee an election that has to decide the next leadership of this country, the interest of your country should be put above political interest. If you think you are a politician, you want to seek the interest of your party, you have nothing working as a NEC official. Please go out there because the opportunity have been given. If you are a politician, go and serve as a party agent or a party authority for your party, but you could not be as a NEC official while you're working on the interest of your political party. these are some of the things that have been rearing their ugly heads in the past few days prior to the presidential honor. So we are calling on those officials that please, this time around, we as young people in the APC, we are determined, we are poised, we are vigilant, and will ensure that the will of the people prevail.
That was Ali Conte, National Secretary General of the All People's Congress Youth League, speaking to SLBC. News Hour on SLBC. The Gaza Youth Organization is among groups that are calling for peaceful elections. Here are some of the views of its members.
Normally they call me PM.
So, I mean, what do you have to tell people about this election?
Well, we just want to pass on this good information, say that peace election one that is country, we don't want no violence, as we don't start some and no continue. We now also want like Kekere that as you can see, we represent one blood, one mama salon.
Now I dey send a message from SLBC, when I APC, but they tell me SLBC, anybody so far away, we let them go. Who don't say who not keke guy, who not so far at the brand. You have that, who don't use it.
Can you settle violence? Peace and peace we need. We get SLPP out, we get PCA. We not Gaza rider there. They will be further than there. Let them make the election. Let them get peace and this country.
Kamara, aka Chief Abista, they are the rep Gaza team. You know, say Gaza with the preach peace now to the both two parties, APC and SLPP, we all know one. And me like so, me a pauper day. But shout love to me, brother, they are Tolombo. No come to one, no below Pulan. Sando am the big salon people them. You are the team, the Kono, the Lima, the Fula. We are all
Fuji go grali 2018 election. Ono fi mo pe ma mo wana da pigbi. Mo ya me mo wana da pigbi. Benu ya me mo wana da pigbi ya ke ya benu na we. So mo da pigbi election.
go down.
Faminu, biari second o. Ine mine Alayi Kamara. Mine tsefofone afuma mi ayi rogbanye. Mari SLPP Daya APC. Mari sasenu dimdin. Comme son compas, Marie, Dr. Samura, ne sais pas au bon manouk paye. On va au laisser ainsi canton. Marie, ça se connaît dimdin. Marie, en famille de Bombali. Amakeni people, Marie. Anto Fube. Nous dimdin.
Van Tone Sakawa, Udumu, election here, Mabia Mobo Fair, more than one year. Moi for my onda, moi on the Angie. Manya, more the Angie. SAPPO, APCO, PMDCO, the Anamamusu, the Doremamusu, Udumu, Mona money election, Yabonate,
Ibrahima Sori Bangura na Freeton bo election fena ki kwa SLPP APC mubiri mirikede na namura kwa unara ba fena ibo ma kwa baule sona lube kwa mubiri ngalanko mubiri mulukede mubiri ngakede mubiri mbakede so dipo tra ba fena kwa mo mubolo kolonga fera fini fekede na kwa parce imenge na ba fena ole ki tina ene mo ma onnago mbolo kede di election na mo mbolo ko election na pema wonketa ko ngo mbolo kolonga wondiri nan na ibo ma kwa wombiri nan do ibo ma kwa pen na ganyo soto kwa antana awonta nan soto kwa na ganyo soto awonta nan soto kwa wombiri mbale kede wombiri ngukere wombiri ngukere so ndamu wa ngbe palma election na gaji kwa wa ma do ngara ba kwa boya sapi kwa anu nyala ntu kwa anu
yogere aj ko sare do botanen gasuno lama do olamo en achen gere botanen duwa do lama do olamo en achen gere ko sare do
election ba o ko semba
Bitumota Soro, Bitumota Deya, Bisu, the name de Te, I will like so much. Banaya, Unamite Masalama.
The head of the European Union delegation to Sierra Leone, Ambassador Tom Vance, has said that social media operators should recognize and respect the National Electoral Commission. He urged Sierra Leoneans to be mindful of where they source information from and always cross-check before they put them out to the public. The EU head of delegation cautioned the traditional media to generate messages and also exercise maximum caution while disseminating such messages to the public. He commended the SLBC for what he described as fair and balanced changes granted to political parties before, during and running up to the March 7 elections. He added that state actors, including the police, should conduct themselves professionally during conduct of the elections. We bring you an excerpt from his statement.
I want to note that what we have seen up to now, and up to the point that a preliminary statement, and it's called preliminary, was issued, indicated that the people did indeed have the freedom to cast their vote according to their own will, and that the process was relatively well managed, despite the fact that indeed there were a number of irregularities and shortcomings. And as my colleagues have said, I think it has been very noteworthy that the NEC and other electoral management bodies have been very available to take on board some of these comments with a degree of proportionality. You cannot change everything, you cannot change your system in the space of time that is available. There's legislation which rules how elections have to be conducted. So all of that has to be respected, but we have noted that there has been a high degree of openness to address a number of the concerns which have been raised by different stakeholders. We have a longer term plan to continue to work with the NEC beyond the elections also. It's important to now focus. There's a tendency that in between elections we forget about planning for elections. So this is also an important element of democratization. There will be lessons learned. As we have indicated, some of these lessons require a lot of time to actually be implemented. It requires sometimes legal reform, it requires capacity building, etc. So we will continue to work also with NEC beyond these elections, but now we have also provided substantial financial assistance. But I do want to note that it is really important that these elections are primarily managed by the national authorities, and that also implies the financial contribution by the government, which is larger than the sum of all our contributions, and this is really important also for this electoral process. International community's role, and I actually would like to turn that around. I mean, our role is really one of a supportive role. We depend on a credible process that delivers credible results that are accepted by the people, that are accepted by the parties, to be able to provide support, cooperate effectively with Sierra Leone and with the Sierra Leonean people. But the process is the process of the Sierra Leoneans. This is where the first responsibility lies. It's the people, it's the politicians, and we have been talking a lot about the issue of peace, calm. This is absolutely on everybody's mind. Everybody has been concerned over what has happened in the past couple of days, and it should be a responsibility for everybody, the political leaders at all levels, I would say, to act, to refrain from any insightful messages, condemn any acts of violence which are taking place. Of course, the authorities have to also play a role in that to act with proportion when this is happening. And media has a very important role to play. So I would put at the center the Sierra Leoneans, all the stakeholders, from media to the ordinary people, over the authorities to the political parties, to maintain and to make sure that indeed we do prepare for a situation after the elections in which we as international community can continue to support in the interest of all Sierra Leoneans. All the bodies, authorities involved in the electoral process have played a professional role, have undertaken their duties in a professional manner. Of course, as with any process, as in any organization, not everybody acts at all the levels in the same way, but overall I think there has been a high degree of professionalism, and it actually has allowed on election day really to have very peaceful elections. People came in high numbers. There have been no serious incidents during the actual voting that has taken place, and I think credit has to be given also to the police for that. But it is of course true that some opposition parties have expressed a degree of distrust with the police. We are not blind to this, and we have all along also continued to encourage dialogue. There are issues which can be talked through. There are approaches which can be adopted, and I think that the police has also been very open to listen to some of the concerns of the opposition parties and to address some of these concerns. In fact, it's no secret, we just came out of a meeting with the IGP this morning, where we have also discussed around a number of these issues in the way that the electoral process is being managed, and I think that there is a very genuine effort to take some of the concerns on board which have been out there, and I'm quite confident that the police is going to continue to manage this process in a professional manner.
The United States Ambassador to Sierra Leone, Maria Brewer, has said that the media did well in the electioneering process so far, but said that the media needs to look at the social media to be regulated, avoiding hate speeches and what she described as Kelgobwinkam and Kongosa during the runoff.
Well, I think the media largely has done a pretty good job. I think that certainly the U.S. government, and I know some of our other partners have been giving out training, talking to journalists about how to report these issues, about how to remain impartial and to present all sides of any story. So it was good in many cases to see that happening. I think what we are seeing that is unfortunate is that since the elections we've seen a rise in the use of hate speech, and particularly on social media, some concerns about people transmitting information that is not verified. As I would like to say to my Sierra Leonean friends, please don't indulge in Kongosa, Kotya, Putya, Kelgobwinkam, all of that. That's not helpful. When you are seeing a report on social media, really review it closely and don't just forward it, mindlessly, and don't let yourselves be used as a tool of violence and of hate speech. So the NEC is looking at these issues. They are being very forthcoming and responding to questions regarding the request for recount. I believe that NEC undertook well over 150 recounts before they even issued the final results. So I think they are doing their best to respond to these incidents, to respond to queries. I don't think it was a perfect election, but I don't think that such an election exists. I don't think anyone could hold them to that standard, but I think that they are doing their level best, and I think they're acting in a very forthright manner to respond to criticisms. And again, as my colleague said, we would encourage political parties and anyone who has specific concerns to raise those to the NEC, to raise them to the bodies that are empowered to take action.
The British High Commissioner Guy Warrington has commended the work of the National Electoral Commission. According to him, NEC is doing a great job in this turbulent and difficult situation, and therefore calls on everyone to respect their role and critique them responsibly. He believes that the need for a more transparent and credible runoff is imminent as the international community is condemning all forms of hate speeches being propagated by Sierra Leoneans. We now bring you an excerpt of Guy Warrington's statement.
The NEC is doing a good job in difficult circumstances, and we should respect that, and we should respect their role, which is not to ignore all of the criticisms. I mean, amongst those criticisms there are some valid ones, there are some invalid ones, but really anyone who has any criticism of the process should go with those criticisms, with those complaints to the NEC, and the NEC should deal with them. They won't be able to respond to every single one. We've only got 2 weeks between the elections. But what I see at the moment is a very responsive NEC that is taking these things seriously. They've already issued a book of changes that will happen to the process to improve it. So I'm confident that actually the second round will be even more transparent, credible, and hopefully peaceful. I think that's true, and I think we need to make a distinction between the voters and some political parties who are not particularly happy with the results of the first round. Their concerns need to be taken seriously, but I hope that the voters who are not the same thing as the political parties still have confidence in the NEC. We certainly do. So, I mean, I too believe that the police behaved in a very professional manner, and I think it's worth saying that I believe there's been significant improvement in the way that the police deal with things like public order situations over how it was dealt with a few years ago. So there have already been improvements made. I think, as Tom said, we've just been with the IG. The police is interacting with the political parties and the NEC in a very mature way. They are discussing issues and coming up with
The Sierra Leone Standards Bureau with the Ministry of Trade and Industry has temporarily closed the Haddock Sierra Leone Limited, a producer of Mr. Chip's cheese balls at Moritown. The closure is as a result of a new sticker badge put on the product, extending the expiry date, but not the expiration of the product. The extension of the expiry date from June 30th to December 2018 was done without the authorization by relevant authorities. The outlet remains closed until certain measures are put in place. Princess Gibson has more.
The Mr. Chip's cheese balls is produced in Sierra Leone except the packaging material which is imported in the country. This particular label has long been imported with a shelf life that has become overdue. As a result of drop in sales,
this product, we make them. And since we make them and we know they make them, we store them. We produce them based on demand in the market. We get people that we employ. Every day they go Abacha Street, they go to the market, they go shop to shop, then take quantity of what in the shops they want. Now based on that, we produce the next day. When they produce, we keep them. Now how we make them? The things that they import, now the raw materials then. The one thing we don't cause this whole thing, now this packaging material. This now one of the package, now the packaging material, this we now in with the imports because we not able to make an and we're not able for data now because of a glossary. Where we try for data and the ink it go whip. So what we do, we tell the suppliers then we have data based on the standard way we get that, and in 1 year the product will be fit for use. So you see them then data best before 1 year of production. This material, based on we past sales show we get, will be the short this material. So it comes to a point we say, okay, let me order because we sell. As we order in a large quantity, now sales can't stiff.
Haddock Sierra Leone Limited initially sought clearance from the Ministry of Trade for the labeling of packaging materials, which was granted valid for June 30, 2018, based on the prescribed guidelines proffered by the Sierra Leone Standards Bureau.
When the date due, we stop production. We stop production, we say, but since we get a boku, we meet some stakeholders in the business and we try to engage them. we engage standard bureaus, we engage Ministry of Trade, and we suggest say if we they can advise we for make we label this product since now we make an expire it. Now only the plastic way we mark because say Steve make this sell to that way. So Minister of Trade say we not able for allow now for a label until we prove beyond all reasonable doubt that this product is fit for consumption. So they write to Standard Bureau that this kind of thing is on the table. Standard Bureau every 3 months they can take sample, go do sampling, go test the product. If the product not in good quality or fit for use, they stop with. Every 1% they stop with. So based on they do 2 tests, we all be accurate. Based on that, Ministry of Trade be issue a paper will give you allow for a label the packaging machine when at this labeling we idinaya. So we will go ahead for a label.
The company should have sought another extension clearance of date on the packaging material, which the management failed to obtain from the Standards Bureau and the Ministry of Trade. The date was extended to December 2018 without clearance. These are according to the Deputy Director of Standards Bureau, Jogo Barry, and the Chief Director, Ministry of Trade, Charles Meriwether Thompson, who spoke of the camera is a misinformation on the product. This, they said, has resulted to the temporary closure of the company until new sets of stickers are ordered. Princess Gibson, SLBC News.
The Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Resources, Fatmata Mustafa, has said that improved governance and management of the mineral sector is what the ministry is working towards. She made the statement during the launching of the Sierra Leone Mineral Sector Benchmarking Assessment Report. The benchmarking assessment, according to her, was a collaborative effort between the government, private sector, and the civil societies across the country. Hawa Mose was in attendance and she filed in this report.
I am honored to launch the Sierra Leone Mineral Sector Benchmarking Report. This is it. Thank you for your attention.
The launching of the Sierra Leone Mineral Sector Benchmarking Assessment Report is to make sure that citizens benefit from their own natural resources, as the survey was done with support from the private sector, international donors, and the civil society respectively across the country. The report, according to the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Resources, Fatmata Mustafa, is the output of months of research, validation, and review work done by a team of dedicated professionals, both in the public and private sectors. The Permanent Secretary, Fatmata Mustafa, commended the researchers who led the research process and the mineral sector experts panel under the leadership provided by the Deputy Minister of Mines and Mineral Resources.
It is our objective to create the conditions necessary for improved governance and management of the mineral sector, and more especially to get a good deal for country, communities, and companies. These recommendations in this report create the framework within which we can ensure that wealth under the ground is translated into wealth above it. This document has already been useful to us, and I hope it will be useful to you and others, meaning researchers, students, policymakers, and private sector actors.
The Mineral Policy Advisor of the Ministry of Mines and Mineral Resources, Daniel Gbundo, giving a brief background to the assessment, noted that they went to various communities through town hall meetings to get first-hand information from people, as they should be part of the process. He stated that his ministry will make sure that the rollout of the report go through community programs across the country.
The Sierra Leone Mineral Sector Benchmarking Report is about ensuring that as a ministry we understand in many ways the challenges that are inherent in minerals exploitation, and also to look at the policy recommendations that we can put in place to improve the manner in which we are managing our mineral resources, in which we can optimize the benefits that we can get from the minerals sector. We want to ensure that our people get the benefit from the resources that we have, against the backdrop that these resources are non-renewable. A bucket of iron ore out of the ground means we are a bucket of iron ore poorer. So the government has the obligation to ensure that we make the best use of what we have.
Other civil society representatives who attended the launching ceremony also made meaningful contributions. SABC TV News are in Freetown. Hawa Mosiwe reporting.
You're watching News Hour on the Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation. It's time for a break. We'll be back with more news up next after the break. Welcome back from that break. News Hour on SLBC. Hale Salon has again started voter education in marketplaces, main junctions, disabled homes, aged homes, schools and colleges in the western urban and rural areas. The voters' education, which is mostly targeting first-time voters, is geared towards addressing invalid votes. We bring you highlights of the exercise.
Outside the box, make sure stay away the correct or you F, enough for being outside the box. Any vote you want for use, you for make sure stay inside the box. No sign, no write your name, no write person in name. Just tick or you F or you turn print. So that will make your vote valid. And also, any ballot paper what they give you, make sure stay the ballot paper stamped by neck. If the paper not stamped, the vote will be invalid, now void vote. Even if you vote correctly, if the paper not stamped, now void vote. If you mistake, probably the person you want vote for, you mistake vote for another one. Now you write to ask for another paper. After the ballot go outside the box. So therefore this vote will be counted valid. They don't go void down. And also this other person inside the box will not go out. This also not a valid vote. But do you make we avoid void vote, make we not sign, make we not write person name, make we not scratch any candidate in the moon or left. Sometimes you don't elect this candidate, there is scratching face. Then you vote for the you want vote. Automatically you don't void the vote. So not scratch person face, no write the name, no write your name, no sign, just tick
of invalid vote. If you don't give ballot paper or not stamp, na the back, no hola. They will give you ballot paper or not stamp na the back, where you will cast the vote correctly. But when they come out, because of you not stamp, they put as void vote. If you don't give ballot paper or they mistakenly check, no hola, return am. Because when they come, they put as void vote. Vote. Just make correct. For another ballot paper, they need a contact. So now you make give ballot paper, they go stamp on the back. The ballot paper was stamped on the back nowadays. Use correct for or something. And the way
make sure that he stamp the ballot paper and the bag. If you don't stamp and you go vote, no problem, so then they come down. That makes these people get too much of invalid vote. We try to reduce the valid vote. Sponsored by NEC and UNDP, and then come with this program here. If you're not possible, no later, no scratch up, return up.
White vote. If not, can you then use? Either you make poor or you make correct. If you don't make poor, then the correct inside the box, that at the end. We make sure that it is inside the box, make another out of the box. If not correct, you don't make the correct inside the box, make another out of the box. Or you make it out of the box. When you don't go vote, please let me not sign. As you see us on the man sign inside there. If you sign inside there, now void vote. When you sign inside there or you write on it, if you want to use the pen. Make sure you vote for one person, not vote for two persons. If you vote for two persons, then they count the vote as invalid vote. You vote another counter. If not three way for vote, it's either you complete, you make this forward, and if you want use the poor. Make sure say the X for the inside the box, make another out of the box. If it is out of the box, then the count you vote as invalid vote, what we they call void vote.
The People's Movement for Democratic Change, PMDC, and the United National People's Party, UNPP, have declared their support for the presidential candidate of the Sierra Leone People's Party, retired Brigadier Julius Maada Bio. The press conference, which took place at the Bintumani Hotel in Aberdeen, Freetown, attracted supporters from the two parties. The move follows the presidential runoff slated for March 27 next week. Hawa Mose was in attendance, she reports.
During his declaration, the presidential candidate of the PMDC, Charles Francis Magai, described his return to the Sierra Leone People's Party as historic, assuring Sierra Leoneans that they are about to embark on a new dawn of prosperity. The PMDC presidential candidate, Charles Francis Magai, informed the gathering that few days ago, the highest body of his party met to deliberate on which party to support for the runoff. Mr. Magai said majority of his members decided to support the Sierra Leone People's Party for the runoff.
We are very pleased, Mr. Vice President in waiting, Chairman and leader of the Sierra Leone People's Party, that we have made the right choice. And it is not just declaring our support for SLPP, but we are going to work side by side with you in our quest to achieve that desired goal which the people of Sierra Leone are yearning for. And I want to believe, and I'm convinced, that it is only a matter of days when Sierra Leoneans of all shades, of all political dimension, will come on the streets of Sierra Leone and rejoice that freedom is back in Sierra Leone.
The vice presidential candidate of the Sierra Leone People's Party, Dr. Julde Jallow, commended the presidential candidates of the PMDC and THIM for supporting the SLPP. He added that the SLPP will work in close collaboration to bring the party back to power as its manifesto. The new direction caters for better conditions of service for the citizens.
I want to thank you very much for the trust you have to join us, to work with us, to move this country out of the fragile situation that it finds itself, as you have rightly described. What we want to say, that this is an indication that the winning alliance is gathering momentum, and that momentum is going to sweep the APC, and we are going to wreck the APC, and then push them to a corner where they will be able to understand that we have better minds, we have better heads, and organized people who want to move this country forward. And make no mistake, we have been saying this, and we are going to say it, and we will continue to say it. We have the People's Manifesto. We have identified all what we want to do for this country, and we are delighted that parties, political parties, legendary politicians like Charles Magai are coming on board because they believe in us and they believe in our project that at this point in time, the Sierra Leone People's Party is well prepared to move this country forward.
The national chairman and leader of the Sierra Leone People's Party, Dr. Prince Alex Harding, informed journalists that the press conference was held to welcome the presidential candidate of the PMDC, chairman and supporters of UNPP as well. Dr. Harding expressed appreciation to the two parties for their support to the SLPP. Chairman and representatives of the UNPP also assured the SLPP National Executive that they will make sure that they embark on robust campaigns and voter education in some parts of the northern region to get more support for the Sierra Leone People's Party. SABC TV News Eye in Freetown, Hawa Mosiri reporting.
In business updates now on SLBC. Foreign exchange. The pound sterling buys at 10,241 leones and sells at 10,458 leones. The US dollar buys at 7,458 leones and sells at 7,793 leones. And the euro buys at 9,103 leones and sells at 9,284 leones. Traders in Wozak Junction have voiced concern over lack of price control. They expressed their views as Willimaina Boku was out to find out. Let's join her.
Hello, I'm currently at Wozak Junction and I'm here to find out the current price situation of market sellers and also to search their minds on what will be their possible advice to the current government in terms of price control. Now let's see what they have for us. For now, business rising. Just because of one day and take as a transportation, rising. Then from where they sell it, for now, business very slow. Like this election, we don't they are ahead of it, they don't say one off. So like someone will left for take the money, go put a party for it, say for can buy it. But I just the grace of God, not just one sit down and all still like that. But that make we come for cancer. So it's a new advice someone give to the president, we got them from a pocket, but this once here. Where they can let not forget we the businessman and mayor that transportation side, here the side, we are we can let look at that side, they remember put and down. So at least in them we can down, we will sell, we will get it to forget. You know, say if transportation can down, they know they go buy, they can sell really cheap, they also go to sell.
And let my beauty to me. So the government will be a program for let government win. If you win, make I free your own, they will not get. So poor man know the when you sit down, no they fail and anything you say you not poor man. But if you know if they fail like that, so as they present, the devil till they eat. But if you sit down and say they fall the hand so, then nothing. Pass no more. If you sit down, maybe nothing. If you try, you they leave. Young girl they there for all bag, they gonna say they go back and young boy they make them there for work for cheese, they not do because they don't see work day. And they go inside because one no want to. We know what? Let to you.
I'm name Mr. Mohamed Bangwa. All my students, but right now they do business for us.
Okay, which kind of business you do?
They sell chocolate, I sell butter. Okay, for them. They are free for them. This for me. Do the business there. Right now, the one that we got with the beer. Who believes say if we do clean, we don't follow it, most get waiting for them one day. But then they don't do, not okay for it. So we go clean, we have family people them. You get you no get to you no go know if you like get it power it. If you come out you no get it, what you go do? Disgrace. Well, we are put to government. Any old time, it means now except people. Any old time, any more lady, that's for me. 10 days, you feel happy.
Society Calon, reputation here. And you want to raise price? The final advice that we are to give them, let government reduce tax. The tax na dey make dem raise price. Let government reduce tax. Taxation na dey force we out. Taxation. Go for go renew your tax, your business document, but they tell you how much it costs. You just say, hey, what's happening? Then we are in as you know they make money commensurable to what they go spend. Let us seek into the middleman power where we see at the backbone of this country. If we go to agriculture at the same thing, you go to mechanical at the same thing, you get not only me, billions upon millions of people that will in this country. They're ready for good land trade.
Kola nut sellers in eastern Sierra Leone say their business is economically viable. They made this disclosure to our camera operator Dominic Tucker as he visited Kenema district. Let's join Lucian Ganda as she puts the report together.
Kola nut is the fruit of the kola tree. It is a genus of trees that are native to the tropical rainforest of Africa. The caffeine-containing fruit of the tree is used as a flavoring ingredient in beverages and is the origin of the term kola. Kola nut is relevant in the African tradition in that it is used in weddings, naming ceremonies, libation, and for some other purposes. Kola nut actually rank 10th among culinary nuts by worldwide production. Kola nut sellers in the eastern Sierra Leone were swift to explain the prices of kola nuts per bag to SLBC Business Desk.
And our kola business we do, as you can see, get me close, the info I can work with muchly. We have benefit a lot from because I can do a business, I can go to a village, I transport kola, I go Guinea, I go sell them Mali, see. For an example, if Posiki can, because you don't get specific price. Okay. So when I talk, Posiki charge you 400, 500, you say, when I talk, when I meet up. We go like government support, we help you much about the business, so the business go more. So we will do something in the country, so the country will develop more and more.
Mohamed Kone is a kola nut businessman from Kailaon district.
We are the one way the beer from the dry season time. And the dry season you this now. Okay. We got the one where they begin beer from April, May. From April to May. Okay. We the beer now I get for can now. Well, as we don't talk, it's negotiable. Okay. Right from now, now from 400,000 upwards. Where the challenges that we can get really, the kola tree. First of all, we not realize say kola na produce way say na good way na produce way we find inside. Okay. Because I enough of okay, you all the plant of cocoa then plant inside one something like that. So out of that, another more we get. What they are trying to tell the government? We can left now come out from other countries that they can't buy kola and go to. We say why government then can facility now. So we say we manufacture we do work and what they do we say we do.
Meanwhile, these kola nuts are not only sold in Sierra Leone but also in neighboring Guinea and Liberia. Business News, Lucian Ganda, Freetown.
It's News Hour on SLBC, and now let's join Esther Marie Samura for the latest sports update. It's Sports Update on News Hour. I am Esther Mai Samura. In this edition, the national under-20 team, known as Shooting Stars, are on intensive training at the Ceylon Football Academy in Freetown. The training is in preparation for the first leg of the under-20 African Youth Championship qualifiers against their Guinea-Bissau counterpart on the 30th March 2018 in Bissau. 47 players were invited for training. Here is the report. Over 4 years, the Elite League, which is the Ceylon Premier League, has not been played in the country due to the infighting within the football sector. This has also affected Ceylon's participation in all international competition. It is against this background that the head coach of the national under-20 team, Ken Tabi, talks more on the selection of the players and some of the challenges faced by the team.
We are having a lot of challenge because of lack of football, and the way I came about selecting these players is like getting in touch with all our colleague coaches and telling them the challenge at hand. So I requested for their best and they sent me 2 or 3 players. That's why we have these numbers. We've scaled it down to 32 this morning. So we're still working and some still have to go out today. That's the challenge I'm having now because I have to start from zero. A lot of them are having much fitness, lack of activity, and some of them are overweight. So what do you have to do? So you have to manage endurance and tactics. And it's difficult because if you overload the players, we have a short time, we have to play on the 1st of April. If they're overloaded, they can't run. So it's a problem for me. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to put on 50-50 and to see what I can get out of them.
Some of the invited players say training has been effective amid challenges.
My name is Theophilio Junju Conte and I come from Galmark Football Club. Actually, like the training, really difficult because like we don't run on Saturday, then we begin to come back on Monday. So like the training hard actually. Well, the coaching then is beaucoup skill because they play counter attack, then we able to chase who lost the ball, then we run after man, and we don't learn a lot of skills because other skills back to the land. So now for chase and for win the ball.
I'm Samuel Senisi from Bogo Rangers striker. 5 days ago, training built up here with intensive training, both aerobic and anaerobic endurances. We don't really use these 5 days. Our training not really bad. And obviously, we match, we well determined and well focused with one mind. I hope say at the end of the day we will get a very good result.
My name is Abu Kume and the club where I come on Standard FC. The training so far, like, even though it's not bad, but it's not easy. Because like actually see morning and evening and not get for easy, but anyways the training good. Training nice because like every day we come and we cope up with the training. So far so good, the training not bad for now. We don't learn Bokutin because like now 5 days no more. For these past 5 days, they do extremely good. Like we don't know the position or tactical and we try to work on the system. So
the training continues at the Football Academy in Freetown. Esther Mai Samura, SLBC TV. That was Ceylon National Under-20 team training at the Football Academy in Freetown. Away from that, now into cricket. England were bowled out for 58, their 6th lowest total, as New Zealand dominated the one of the first test, playing their first test since losing the Ashes 4-0 in Australia. England slipped to 27-9 before being dismissed in 24 overs at Eden Park. That's the latest update in sport. I am Esther Mai Samura. Thanks for watching. And that's the end of the news hour bulletin this afternoon in SLBC. First off, I take you through the main points again. Inspector General of Police, Dr. Richard Moibe, says it's an offense to police unprofessionally discharge its function. Foreign diplomat mission in the country call for peaceful elections. Secretary General of the All People's Congress National Youth League, Ali Conte, calls on youths to be peaceful but very vigilant on polling day. And Ministry of Mines launches the Sierra Leone Mineral Sector Benchmarking Assessment Report. That's all in news hour on SLBC. I am Phoebe Nsue. Have a good day. Cheers.